how to introduce new rhythms and routines in your homeschool. I'm giving you 5 of my best tips today. Hi, if you're new here, my name is Tiffany and this is Into Life Homeschool. My videos are all around homeschooling, motherhood and organisation. So if those things interest you at all, I would love for you to subscribe. When we're trying to create new rhythms and routines to our weeks in our homeschool, it can feel a little like we're swimming upstream and it feels really hard and overwhelming. And if you're anything like me, it is really hard to stick to new habits, and introducing those kinds of things into the homeschool can feel very resisted. The biggest mistake that we make as home educators is when we start a new year, we feel like we have a fresh start, and that can sometimes be really exciting. And then we go ahead and plan all the things and we forget that life happens, and we forget that maybe we're not looking at things as realistically as we probably could be. And I think over the last couple of years, I have just refrained from planning too many things because I have been burned by this before. And what can happen is it can really hit your self-esteem, and it can make you feel like you are the problem rather than the systems that you've put in place for yourself. So today I'm sharing 5 really simple tips that have always served me well in my homeschool, particularly at the beginning of the year. And that's all around starting your year slowly. I really truly believe that starting your year intentionally and slowly will set you up for the most well-formed habits to have such a great foundation for building on top of and adding to those days. So in the long run, I really do believe you get more done, you're more productive. That's not what this video is about, but I do think that ultimately this is the best way to start a great foundation for your homeschool and for your days and what that looks like for you. Sometimes you just need a place to start. And that is exactly what routine is all about for me. When we have life happens, when we start our day and things don't go to plan and everyone's just a little off, I always fall back on my routine because I know I've planned 2 to 3 things just to get us started. And where that leads, that actually doesn't matter to me so much. It's more that we actually got those things started. That is the goal. That is the whole point for routine for me. It's having that starting point to set our day up, to have an actual start to our day. Because without actually having something like we're going to be doing this language arts lesson, we're going to be doing this math lesson, or we're going on this excursion, having that set into our routine, having that plan that we're doing language arts on Monday, that we're doing math on Tuesday, having those things pre-planned and in freely, my homeschool planner, allows me to just know exactly what's happening. That is the goal. If I get that started, I'm winning. And having your expectations lower for that and just knowing that is the goal to begin with is actually something that's very rewarding, because ticking that off and having that done just builds you up. It builds your confidence up. It builds the confidence for the kids up as well, because they feel good. We've started our day, we've done something, we've achieved something, and everyone just feeds off of that. So a really difficult day can turn into something magical just by getting started. And that's the whole point. And that's the whole point of routine for me personally. So the way I do that, the way that looks for me, is by using my Freely Homeschool Planner. It's a digital planner, and I use my routine feature and I set that in, and I only plan 2 or 3 things per day for the week. And I set that and I make sure that is like my habit tracker, and it allows me to really make sure that at the bare minimum, that is what we've done. And I feel good about that. And that's where I keep my expectations low. And that's where the magic happens, because I'm giving our days space. And we really need that, especially in the beginning. when we're coming away from having holidays and having much more relaxed days, and then we're trying to, throw in some structure, that can be met with a lot of resistance. So that is why I say starting slow is so important for our family, particularly with children that struggle with change. That can create a lot of conflict and a lot of resistance, and it can feel really uncomfortable for them. So doing it slowly and being purposeful and intentional with our plans is really, really important for our family. Food. Now, I know this has absolutely nothing to do with homeschooling, but if your family is like my family, you probably know all about second breakfasts. And it is a really, really big deal to be hungry and try and homeschool. And if you're anything like me, you're probably feeling like you're spending more time in the kitchen than you are at the table or whatever it is that you need to be doing. And that drives me crazy. So food is a massive, massive tip for me. And that is something that I always focus on every week. I make sure I have all the snacks, I have all of the food planned, and a lot of it is kept really simple, especially in a period where I'm trying to facilitate a new routine or a new rhythm to our day, new curriculums, all of that kind of stuff. My brain needs to be focusing on that, not, oh my gosh, I haven't put anything on for lunch and it's 2:00 and we haven't eaten, and oh my gosh, we're also hangry. True story. So my tip is that make sure you have food, plenty of it, and have it planned. So the big winner for us is platters and homemade muesli bars, roll-ups, things that you can eat while you're actually working. I'm okay with that. I don't need to have a big sit down meal for lunch. We really enjoy just having shared lunches and things like that we can continue on with what we're doing. We generally only have a small amount of time that we're sitting around the table and doing formal work. So for us, eating and doing that at the same time is actually really great. And it is proven, especially with children that have ADHD, chewing while you're learning is actually something that is really, really beneficial. So, we need to work with what works for our kids and what works for us, and that works for us. So I wanted to definitely share that tip with you today. Timing is everything in our house. It is so important to be looking at your day. We're homeschooling. We have the freedom of time, but that time can just disappear if we're not keeping an eye on it. And before you know it, it's the afternoon, haven't even thought about dinner, and we haven't done lessons because we're procrastinating about such and such. And that's all well and good. But if you are like me and you need to have a couple of those things done, that's where routine comes into place. That's where timing comes into place. You need to have a time where you have decided that you're going to be doing that thing. It's just a start. So, for example, if you're really wanting to do lessons in the morning, because that is the span of time that you have available, then everybody needs to be on the same page with that. For my children and my situation, it's a little bit different. Things have changed up. And my son, he needs a lot of sleep at the moment for various reasons. He sleeps into around 9:30, 10 o'clock sometimes. And that has been a big deal for us. I'm so grateful that I'm able to allow him to have that extra rest and recovery time. But it impacts my day because we used to do school from 9 until 12. Like our formal work would be in that morning span of time. And I had everything kind of worked out. And now it feels very topsy-turvy, very all over the place. But I've found a new way to work with the timing. And that is simply doing one-on-one work with my daughter first thing in the morning. She's an early riser, I'm an early riser. I'm sitting there with a coffee and I have this beautiful one-on-one time with my daughter. So then when my son wakes up, my daughter's cup is full. She's already had that special time. She feels full of love, ready to go and do her own kind of projects and things and bits and pieces. So I can dedicate the rest of that time to my son, and we have one-on-one time together, and it flows really, really well. And it actually works in the same span of time that I was originally doing it. I just approached it differently. And I think that's the main tip, is just look at your timing. And is it working for you? Is it working for your kids as well? Because it really does need to, for them to be in the right frame of mind as well, to be able to facilitate whatever it is they need to be focusing on, all of those kinds of things. It's a really great tip to keep in mind when you're looking at your day. Is everybody's needs getting met? And is that timing needing to be adjusted a little? Okay, so my final tip is actually organization. It had to be said. It's one of those things. It's the elephant in the room. If we are not organized, we can't facilitate new curriculum. We can't implement that lesson properly or effectively. If we don't have the right books in the right area, or we don't know where things are, we're going to be wasting time looking for things. And I have learnt that the hard way year after year for many years early on in homeschooling. I was just chasing my tail constantly, and the amount of hours that I wasted, just, little 5-minute, 10-minute spans of time adds up to a lot of time looking for things. And it's so infuriating. And it doesn't set well for the day. It doesn't feel good, and often that can end in impatience with the kids if they're waiting around, or you forgot that really important part to create that really awesome science experiment. Everyone's disappointed. And sometimes these things happen, and we just have to give ourselves grace. But if we can find a system that actually allows us to be more organized and have everything that we know we need in place, that is a recipe for success. And that's what I've done. I found my recipe for success. I've been doing it for many years now, and it works really well. I use Freely Homeschool Planner, as I've mentioned, and whenever I'm entering in my curriculum, whether it's a new one or an old one, whatever it is, I always make note as I'm looking through the curriculum. There's usually little sections where they mention what you need for experiments, all that kind of stuff, for projects, all of that. And I actually tag part of that little list into a category called to purchase. And when I'm at the shops, I can grab my phone out, I can open up Freely, I can, click on that category, and I can see everything that I need for all of my subjects, for all of my kids. And I've got it all, just a running list of all the things that I need to purchase. And it's highlighted, it's there, I can see it so clearly. And all I have to do is just add it to my trolley, add it to my car as I'm shopping, and go, oh yeah, that's right, I need baking soda. How often do we need baking soda for science experiments? It's all the things that you really need that add that magic to your day. And it's incredibly important to me to feel like I'm ready and prepared. And I just throw all of the supplies and things into my trolley, into my homeschool cart, and it allows me to just be prepared, and I know that I've got all that stuff. So for you, it might look like just writing a paper list or putting it in notes on your phone. Whatever it is, make sure it's something that you can access anywhere. It's not something that you're going to leave at home, or whatever it is, and make sure it works for you, and find that system that works for you where you can, have access to the things that you need to have a really great lesson. That's it. Those are my tips. It's really simple, really quick, really easy. Here is to keep it simple, is to go slow at first, and set yourself up so that you're comfortable and confident in what you're doing, what you're teaching, and how you're implementing that into your days, so that everybody feels like they're just easing in to wonderful weeks ahead. So I hope that you found this helpful. If you have, I'd really love for you to give it a thumbs up. It helps my channel, and it allows other people to see the video more as well. And make sure you leave a comment in the comment box below. Let me know what I might have missed. What do you implement into your homeschool? How do you start? Do you start your years off slow, or do you kind of just go in guns blazing? Does it work for you? Let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you.